It's March. The market is insane. Growth rates are crazy. And we're going to tell you how you might be able to win one of these bidding wars, even though they shouldn't be called bidding wars, right after the stats. But first, if you're watching this on YouTube, please go down, click in the corner, subscribe. If you want updates on the marketplace, hit that notification bell for all notifications so you don't miss us. And if your property goes up in value, well, in a sec, you're going to watch the stats. But if your property has gone up in value, make sure you hit the like button because you're awesome, because you own property. And trust me, it's going up. So I want to see lots of likes. Anyway, here are the stats for last month. And right after that, Chandani is going to join us and talk all about winning bidding wars.
Detached sales in Surrey combined for the month of February were 596 sales. This is up from the 283 sales in Surrey combined for the month of February 2020. The HPI has increased to 1,261,400, which is up 5.2% month over month and 18.9% year over year. Some micro markets have experienced even greater increases.
In townhomes, benchmark price is around $624,000. That's a 3.6% increase month over month and a 10.7% increase year over year.
We had 327 condo sales in February with a benchmark price of $416,500, and that was a 3.2% increase month over month and 5.5% increase year over year.
Okay, Chandani, multiple offers. The market is crazy. People are losing. They're not getting their offers accepted. We're going to walk through right now how you have successfully got, let's call it what, 8 accepted offers so far this year for our buyers. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the steps that we need to take to get people into winning those bidding wars, as they call it. I love that they use the term bidding war, even though it's not really a bidding war. It's not like a live auction. That's not what goes on in a multiple offer. But we could be seeing anywhere from 3 to, what did we have last week? 14 offers on one of the properties that we put an offer in on. So what can we possibly do? Let's start at the beginning. I do have a list of questions here for you. What is the top thing we're doing, or what do we need to start with, I guess we should say, in order to get our clients successfully into a hot market?
Well, first thing is always going to be getting pre-approved. Okay, that's number one. We have to do it. And you know what? A lot of the times buyers like to not share that broker with the realtor, but they really need to communicate together, because to get a successful deal done, we need to know exactly where the buyer stands, what's their comfort level, where can they go to, and we need a broker that's going to answer our call on Sunday when we're writing offers.
Okay, so what you're recommending first is maybe not dealing directly with the bank and the branch level, talking with a mortgage broker, and then knowing your position. And the reason I think that we always suggest to get a broker is, I mean, they're commission sales. They only get paid if the deal is done, and it's not a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday type of position. So when we are in these, like literally, Chandani, you're probably phoning the broker while you're walking out of the listing to see if everything is lined up.
We have many clients that like to go to the bank directly. The issue I have with the banks is, yes, we have a relationship built. All of our information goes to them, but they want 10 days for subject removal. You're lucky if you can even get 3 days, right? Depending on what we're writing on. Like a condo, yes, we can still get subjects for a couple days, right? Townhouses detached isn't there. Their response time is just so much slower, unfortunately. So we really need to have someone that's on our side and is aggressive also, will answer our calls when we need and is available.
So I put that down as step number 1, broker, agent, communication, right? They got to be on the same level. All right. So now we've got our financing approved or not approved?
Better be approved.
I guess what I'm trying to drag out of you is everybody says, okay, well, we need this subject to financing in our offer. We cannot go unconditional. Or we cannot at least have that subject to financing. And what we're finding is the offers that we are losing for our buyers are often as a result of, unfortunately, having that condition in place. So how do we overcome not having a financing condition in a property if we need to get there. And I want to make it clear before you answer, we are not saying go unconditional on a property. We're going to walk you through those steps here, but let's talk about how do we remove that financing condition.
So one thing that people don't realize is getting pre-approved. There's 2 steps, okay? Financing, there's 2 steps. Number 1 is the bank has to approve us as the buyer, okay? And then the second step is the bank has to approve the property that we're buying. So the first step of getting us pre-approved, so checking our NOAs, notice of assessments, making sure what the income we stated is what it is, getting job letters, your last pay stubs, all of that can be done beforehand. Okay. The second step then is once we do find the property is getting the property approved by the bank. And that's why it's so important to have a broker that say we found the perfect property and it's like, okay, I'm sending you over the MLS details. I need you to run the numbers through and see if it makes sense.
So I mean, you'll have to, I guess you're also still taking a best educated guess. So you do have to be working with a good broker to find out, okay, if you're approved, yes. Could you afford this much? Yes. And then the broker and the realtor also have to look at the property and go, if we're going to go unconditional, if we're going to remove that financing condition, do you think this property will appraise for the value that we're then going to offer?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. So that's the financing. Now, people are saying all these deals are going unconditional. They're all subject free. So what about removing the other conditions? We're just walking into a property saying, nah, who worries about the due diligence? Let's not do it. Here, take my money. Is that how we win?
No. So we deal with a lot of, clients that they're like, I can never go subject free. And I completely get it because we need that due diligence period, but it doesn't mean that we do not do due diligence. Okay. What it means is we're doing a lot of work before knowing if we have the property secured or not. So that means if it's a strata property, we're reading through 2 years of the strata documents beforehand. Okay. And now listing agents are making sure they have all that stuff. We're doing an inspection prior to writing an offer. Okay. Title search, PDS, that can all be reviewed within minutes. We're getting an insurance quote beforehand. So we're doing our diligence. Instead of once it's accepted the offer, we're doing it beforehand. So
in a lower market or in a slower market, not in a lower market, in a little slower market, what you would do is come to terms on price and dates and then start your due diligence at this portion. In a speedy market, what you're saying is we just flip that around. We do all of our due diligence up front, including possibly inspection. So you may actually be paying for an inspection and still not get the house. So that's the scary part. But it's just almost a reverse order. And I think I got called out on Instagram by the home inspectors of BC 2 or 3 years ago saying, hey, this guy is telling people not to do their due diligence. That is not the case. What we're saying is you may need to do a lot of work in advance of writing your offer. So these days a property is coming on the market on what? Usually Wednesday, Thursday, and then hitting or showing over the weekend, looking at offers Monday or Tuesday. So you may spend 4 days working to find out if you can actually go ahead and compete with that property if they end up not, if they end up with many offers and you actually have to put your best foot forward. Because the part that gets lost here, sorry to cut you off, Chandani, the part that gets lost here is, yes, we don't want to have to go do all that work in advance of an offer, ideally in a perfect situation, but the seller is going to be looking at 14 offers. And the seller is going to take the best offer for them. So if you are a buyer in this market, you have to make sure that your offer is not the best, unfortunately, for you. It is the best offer for the seller. And as a result, your win is getting the property and not paying more in 3 or 4 weeks from now. And the seller's win is taking. So unfortunately, the seller is not going to likely look at an offer with a condition if he's got 4 other offers for the same price that is done and sold today. So Chandani, I wanted to ask you, I think originally, maybe when we were out at a conference in Toronto, I think Ralph Ciencio might've brought this up. He asked the term, maybe you can explain this. What did that condition cost you? Can you explain that?
Absolutely. So, for example, we were writing an offer just the other day, and yes, we could have probably beat the subject-free offer. But the thing was, how much was that financing subject for 3 days, which is what we wanted, going to cost us? Because chances are, if it's 10, 15 grand, what the listing agent's going to do is say, hey, Mr. Subject-free offer, this is another offer we have. Are you able to match this? And that's probably their, 10, 15, no problem. But chances are you're going to have to be paying a lot more for that one subject, unfortunately. And then the other challenge is the seller is sitting there with their realtor with these 14 offers, and they know if they take this one, even though it might be 10, 15 grand less, they know it's done today. What listing agents and the seller is worried about is, what if we take this higher price offer and they have subjects for 3 days and they can't remove, they're subject to financing or whatever it is. Now, will we get this crazy price that's already on the table, subject free, again? So that's a gamble that they're taking.
Yeah, right. It's one in the hand or two in the bush, right? Like they're taking what they view as the best deal or the most certain deal today, and maybe it is even a little bit less money. Like you said, when you said we could beat that other offer, we could beat it in price. We couldn't beat it in fewest conditions possible. So as a result, actually didn't win. I have another. I think we kind of covered this. My big thing I wanted to stress was due diligence. When is it done? Because that is the thing that people think what they're doing is going into a property and saying, well, I guess this much, I don't know. And that's not really what's going on. What's going on is the work is just being done in advance. What else can we do, Chandani? Do you have anything else on your list there in order to get, I mean, from an agent's point of view, there's lots of stuff we do in the background, and we can bore you with that on another video. But from the client's point of view, from the buyers that are watching this video, from our clients who are going to be watching this, what else is there to be done?
We always like to have our clients write a letter to the seller, just because, you know what, how are we going to differentiate ourselves from all the other 14 offers, right? So what we have done are the letters. We've always done it. Before, I used to go to the house and read it and to the seller, and it was great. But with COVID, we can't do that. And another thing is we want to try to think outside of the box. So, we want to make this go as smooth as possible for sellers. So do we maybe cover their closing costs, right? Their lawyer fees, do we try to leave the dates open, give them some flexibility?
Oh, totally. I think giving them flexibility in dates or just putting something into the offer that makes that offer or your offer stick in their mind, because often what you found, Chandani, is you may not be able to guess the right price. We may put together all of our mathematical calculations and get to a spot where you think this is the price that's going to take it. But really what you want is to be the person that gets called back to negotiate, because what happens is in a multiple offer, they'll take those 15 offers or whatever they get. 3 or 4 of them will be tossed out the window. They'll look at all of them because they're low price. They'll look at all of the offers. But really what we want is to be in the top 2 or 3. So we get a call back to say, hey, this will work if you do this. And then if we say yes, it's ours. If we say no, well, then they're going to move on to someone else. So I think what we need to stress to a buyer out here is the win, the getting the house is getting that call back. And if you don't get that call back, you're likely just out. If you haven't heard back, if you've been waiting by your phone, and yes, you should be waiting by your phone. But if you've been waiting by your phone and have to ask what's going on, that's probably a problem. That means you're likely not in the top. But if you get that call back, now you've got the first right of refusal. Now what's the problem with the callback though, Chandani? It's usually, well, we've gone up to our max, and the callback is usually another 5 or 10 or 15 grand above that. And then the buyer goes, well, I don't want to pay that much. Well, this is your opportunity. You pay this much now, or in an increasing market, you're going to pay more the next week. So you have to then make that decision. And unfortunately, some buyers are not in a position to go that much higher, and they're at their max. So they do have to walk away. But if you get that call back and you can go to that max, that is the win. And you have to then say yes and be happy with it. It may feel like too much now, but when you move in, I'll use, I don't know if I'm allowed to rat them out here, but somebody very close to me who's a buyer who gets their house next week. We felt like we went to the max, right? In December, Chandani, and they paid what, 730-ish for that property? What's that property worth today? 800?
Yeah.
Right. So they felt stretched, but anyway, I won't rat who that out. It's somebody very close to me.
Well, we've had people that are on the phone with their parents, literally back in when the market 2017. And I remember they called their dad and was like, I need another 10 grand. And it was their dream home. They were going to be there for a while, right? But at that time it wasn't COVID. So they came with me while I presented the offer. They're waiting in the van. And they called their dad and it's like, we need another 10 grand. Can you help us? Right? Unfortunately, because what sucks is feels like we're paying so much and it seems like it's not worth it. But the unfortunate thing is next week, now that's the benchmark price. The next one's going to sell for more. And that kills me is when the prices are jumping 10, 20 grand a week or in a month. It's crazy, right? And then by the time you move in 90 days from now or whatever your completion is, the prices are even higher. Okay. So I know it sucks, but the goal is always to remember, how long can I live in this property? Because if you tell me, I always ask my clients that if they say 2 years, well, in 2 years, I don't know where the market's going to be. You might not even make your commissions and property transfer tax back, right? But if you can tell me I can live in this property for 5 to 7 years, you'll be fine. I think the market within 5 to 7 years is okay. But I want you to be in this home thinking, if I need to live for 10, you know what? It's going to be okay. We're going to have enough space, right? Because in the long run, the market will get there, will take off, will increase. But what happens from in between, we can't control. From the time we buy to the time we sell, this is what's going to happen to the market. But what matters is when we buy and when we sell, right? So that's the things that really matter. So
well, that's a very good segue to our last video that I put out called Buy Our Property by 25 and You'll Be Set for Life, and I actually illustrate that. So go back, and if you're watching this on YouTube, go back and find that one. All right, Chandani, any final words of wisdom? We've been yapping here a lot. Chandani is available if anybody wants to talk to her about buying. Not if you already have a realtor, but if you don't have a realtor, call Chandani or myself. I'm sure you can click around here somewhere, wherever you're watching this video, get in touch with us, and we can show you how you can actually win one of these multiple offer bidding war situations.
Yeah, I just want to say it's not easy, but you'll get through it. Just have a good realtor, have a good mortgage broker, and kind of enjoy the ride. It's not fun, but you'll get there.
Exciting, not fun, right? Like a roller coaster kind of.
It is a roller coaster for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for doing this with me, Chandani. I promised myself I would never do a Zoom call ever and put it out to our database, but hey, this COVID thing ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So this is what you end up with. Thanks so much for watching the Surrey Report again this month. We'll see you next month.
Bye for now.
Thanks again for watching this month. Please go back, check out the rest of our videos, and remember, hit that subscribe button.